Hello and welcome to the first of several presentations about the outside gifts prohibition for federal employees. I'm your host, Caitlin Rogalski, and this series is brought to you by the USDA Office of Ethics, where we're happy to answer all of your questions at the end of this presentation. Today, we're going to focus on the big picture of taking or refusing gifts from outside sources. First, what is the purpose of the gifts rules? Ultimately, the rules come from the principle that you should not enrich yourself by taking advantage of your official position. In fact, this principle underlies almost all of the ethics rules covering conflicts of interest, representation, post-employment, and more. As a public official, you're in a special position of trust and authority to our stakeholders, all citizens of the United States. These gift rules govern the conduct of individual employees and cover specific situations that could become problematic. You can find them here. Let's look at some definitions first. Here's how a gift is defined. This definition includes services. Next, the definition contains things called indirect gifts. An indirect gift is a gift to someone close to you, such as your spouse or child. An indirect gift could also be to a charity you support. In other words, it could be just about anything. Last, the definition of gift says other item having monetary value. That does not, however, include cash or same as cash items like gift cards, as those may be considered bribes. Please remember that it is completely impermissible to solicit a gift from an outside source using your official position or authority. In fact, if you solicit a gift and then take an official action because you received the gift, it's not actually a gift. It's a bribe, whose solicitation and acceptance bear criminal penalties. You should also know that there are some items that specifically do not constitute a gift and are excluded from the definition of gift. Since they are not gifts, you can accept them. We'll cover these items in an upcoming video in this series, but for now, I want you to know what the prohibition is and why we have it. The gifts prohibition is composed of two parts. You may not accept a gift from a prohibited source or a gift given because of your official position. What do these mean? Let's cover gifts from prohibited sources first. A prohibited source is anyone seeking official action by the USDA. This could be very broad. Prohibited sources are any who do business or seek to do business with USDA, or anyone who conducts activities regulated by USDA. If anyone has interests that may be substantially affected by the performance or non-performance of your official duties, then that person is a prohibited source. Also, organizations, a majority of whose members are composed of the other kinds of prohibited sources, are themselves prohibited sources. For example, a trade association is a prohibited source for USDA if its members are themselves prohibited sources. Why are we prohibited from accepting gifts from these individuals and entities? To avoid looking like our impartiality has been compromised. If you accept a gift from an outside source, particularly a prohibited source, your ability to be impartial when dealing with them may be questioned. We need to avoid this situation to ensure that the services we provide are fair and impartial for all of our stakeholders. The second part of the prohibition says we may not accept a gift given because of our official position. Well, what does that mean? Here's what the regulation says. Let's break down this legalese a bit and analyze it. Basically, the regulation says that when a gift is given because of your official position, it is being given merely because you're a federal employee and for no other reason. Now you may ask why that could be a problem. Surely people could just appreciate the fact that I'm a federal employee by giving me a gift, right? Wrong. Remember the moral principle that you should not take advantage of your official position to enrich yourself? That's partly what this prohibition is trying to protect against. Accepting a gift given just because you're a federal employee is a prime example of the violation of that moral principle. The other reason has to do with impartiality in our dealings with others. It is conceivable that someone may try to ingratiate themselves to you in order to get favorable treatment. One way of doing this is offering you a gift just because you're a federal employee. There are a couple of other points to bring up here as well. Note that I said gifts from outside sources. But if the gift comes from another federal employee, there is a separate regulation governing that, which you'll find here, and one that we'll talk about in detail in an upcoming video in this series. So what should you do if someone offers you a gift? Unless it's a non-gift excluded from the definition of gift, or an exception to the prohibition applies, then you must refuse it. You also need to be careful when you do. You cannot redirect the gift to someone else or to an organization you support, such as a charity. That does not count as a refusal and is counted as an indirect gift. What about if you're not sure? Remember that it's never inappropriate and frequently prudent to refuse a gift if it's not clear why it's being offered. Keeping an arm's length distance from people affected by our official duties is an important aspect of maintaining our impartiality and fairness, as well as avoiding conflicts of interest. Just saying no is one way to make sure we do that. Thanks for joining us on this first video in our series about gifts from outside sources, and we look forward to bringing you more videos on the subject soon. If you have any questions as a result of this video, or any ethics questions at all, give the Office of Ethics a call. We're happy to help you work through any ethics issues. In the meantime, have a great and productive day.